Hi, this is Mrs. Kidman, and welcome back to another video on properties of exponents. Now, we've had two videos previously, one that covered the zero exponent and negative exponents. The last one talked about a couple of exponent properties called the product of powers property, product of powers property, the quotient of powers property, and the powers of powers property. Now we're going to take a look at the power product property and the power quotient property. So these are going to be kind of awesome. Now the power of a product property basically says that if I want to find the power of a product, or I'm multiplying two numbers and I want to find the power of those two numbers, what I would do is I apply the power to each of the different things, factor and multiply. So for example, if I had 3 times 2 to the power of 5, I would apply my power to both of them, so that would be the same as 3 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 5. Or in algebra, if we used it with variables, we would say a times b to the power of m would be the same as a to the m times b to the m. The other property we're going to talk about is called the power of a quotient property. And so if you want to find the power of a quotient, what you have to do is find the power of the numerator and then the power of the denominator and then divide it. So the example with numbers we have here is if we want to find 3 halves to the power of 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 to the power of 5 and divide that by 2 to the power of 5, and that'll give me my solution. In algebra, that would be if I had a fraction of a over b to the power of m, that's the same thing as saying a to the power of m over b to the power of m. The only situation in where this doesn't work is b cannot equal 0, or our denominator can't equal 0, and we know that because we can't divide by 0. So let's take a look at some examples here with the power of a product property and the power of a quotient property. So we're going to simplify these expressions. Let's take a look at this first one. In this first one, it says 10y, or 10 times y to the power of negative 3. So what that really is telling us here is we are looking at 10 to the power of negative 3 times y to the power of negative 3. Now remember, when something goes to a negative power, we want to do the reciprocal. So this is the same as 1 over 10 to the power of 3 times 1 over y to the power of 3. Now we can combine these and get 1 over 10 to the third y to the third, and 10 to the third is going to be 1,000. So this is really 1 over 1,000 y cubed. So there we go. That's how that product power of a product would work. Now let's take a look at the power of a quotient for these next examples. So this next one is negative 4 over n to the power of 5. Now this negative either has to go with the top or it has to go with the bottom, but it can't go with both. So I'm going to put it with the top here. So really what I'm looking at is negative 4 over n to the power of 5. Now, the power of a quotient property tells us that that can be rewritten as negative 4 to the 5th over n to the 5th. And negative 4 to the 5th is going to be 1,024 over n to the 5th. And that's how simplified as we can get that one. Now, let's take a look at this next one. This is going to kind of combine both what we learned today in this video and what we've learned in some other videos. So 1 over 2 times k squared to the power of 5. So we're going to break that up. We have 1 to the 5th over 2 times k squared to the 5th. Now this bottom part here, we're going to have to use the power of a product property as well as the power of a power property to get this figured out. So this right here is 1 to the power of 5. Let's simplify that, is 1. And we're going to do 2 to the 5th times k squared to the 5th. Now 2 to the 5th is something we can figure out. 2 to the 5th is 32. So this is going to be 1 over 32 times, and then k, let's look over here, k squared to the power of 5. Well, that's going to be that power of a power property we learned in the last video, which says I can multiply these. So this is really the same as k times 2 times k to the power of 2 times 5, which equals k to the 10th. So what we're looking at here for our final solution is 1 over 32 k to the 10th. Now that problem there applied our power of a quotient property. It applied our power of a power property. It was awesome. Okay, it also applied our power of a product property. Super cool. Now let's take a look at this last example here. We have 6 times c over 7. So this is going to kind of include multiple again. So we want to break it down first with that power of a quotient rule. So we have 6c to the negative 2 over 7 to the negative 2. Now this negative 2 tells me that this value down here needs to go to the numerator, and this value up here needs to go to my denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this expression so it looks like that. So here I am. I've got 7 squared on top over 6c squared on the bottom. Now 7 squared is going to be 49. And this 6c squared, we have to use that power of a product rule, and we are actually looking at 6 squared times c squared. And so bringing our equation over here, we have 49 divided by 6 squared is 36 c squared. So there you go. That is what that one simplifies to. So we can use this power of a product rule and a power of a quotient rule with those other properties that we've learned. So all of these properties work hand in hand to go together. Now, check out our next video that's going to be about how we simplify expressions using all of these different properties that we've just talked about. We hope that you check out the next one, and thank you for following along with this.